Hello, I built simple but really cool French cleat tool holders from my corded and cordless jigsaws. Yes, I do still have corded hand tools. I'm that old. I have French cleat walls all around my workshop and 2 jigsaws. This is my new one. It's cordless and really great. This is my old one from the last century. It belonged to my father. I used this in high school and I've used it pretty much ever since. It's 45 years old. It's corded because that was the custom in those days, and it's sentimental, so I'll always have a use for it in my shop.
Like my father before me.
I need to hang both of these jigsaws on the French cleat walls around my shop, mostly because they're cluttering things up around here, but also because I'm building French cleat holders every month as I build out the shop. But really I'm doing it because these are in the way. Most French cleat jigsaw holders that I've seen hold the saw sideways. It's easy to see, and I have no hate for this. If this works for you, it's great. But I've got a small shop and I'm trying to save horizontal space. So I like to mount my tools end on. That way, if I need the tool, I can grab it immediately and it's ready for use. Plus, I can hang 2 jigsaws in the horizontal space that one jigsaw uses if I turn them 90 degrees. So that's what I'm going to do. These jigsaw mounts are simple and they'll be made out of scraps, which makes them cheap. Also, I'm lazy. I don't drive all the hardware stores to buy lumber if I've got scraps laying around. So scraps are what we're going to use. The cut list for this project is stupid simple. What you need is a 1/2 inch thick piece of wood, 11 inches by 4 inches, 2 8-inch lengths of 2x4, and then your choice of a 4-inch wide French cleat attachment. I don't know what your French cleats look like. I'm not going to judge. This is what mine looks like. But I'm building 2 of these, so I'm building more of these same parts. The first cut is the backer board. We're using 1/2 inch thick backer board here rather than our usual 1/4 inch because the jigsaws have a little weight on them and the weight's concentrated at the bottom. We don't want these to bend, so thicker wood's the way to go. The next cut is the 8-inch 2x4s. I'm making 4 of them because I'm making 2 jigsaw holders. But the 2x4s aren't just straight cuts. Our next step is to put some notches in these. It's me from the future. What we're trying to do with these notches is to give you a trough that the saw is going to fit into. See? These little edges hold the saw in place. That's what this is for. That way it won't fall out unless you take your house off-roading or something. To make these notches, you'll set your blade depth at 1/4 inch and your fence width at 1/4 inch. You'll end up cutting a 1/4 inch line through each one of your 2x4s that really doesn't do anything. The second notch cut is just as simple. Keep your fence at 1/4 inch width and set your depth at 1.75 inches. Then you lay your 2x4 flat and cut so that the blade intersects the cut you already made. This sounds very complex and engineering-like, but it's really just a pretty straight cut. Here, let me show you. Then you need to sand everything so that you don't get splinters when you try to use your jigsaws. That would slow you down. Assembly is incredibly simple. You just take your backer board and then your 2x4 and you put some glue on it. And you put it in the bottom right-hand corner. Then you take the next bottom piece, the other 2x4, you put some more glue on it, and you put it in the bottom left corner. That's the construction. We'll add the French cleat later, but this is all you have to do to build it. Super simple. Follow me for more woodworking tips. Okay, I also clamped it because we've got a bunch of clamps, and everybody always asks about the glue that I use. I use Titebond 3 because it dries waterproof. We're out here in a garage. I live in a swamp. So moisture's a problem. This is what we use.
The next day.
The glue is dry on the supports for both of the mounts, but I want to add a little extra support, so I'm going to drop in some 2.5 inch screws in the back just to give it some extra stiffness because, well, we're supporting power tools. I recommend you drill a pilot hole for this because it is pretty thick wood, but then again, it's 2x4, so it's probably not going to split. Then I glue on the French cleats. That's the cleats that'll hold it to the French cleat wall. Yeah, that's what they are. I'll hold these on with glue. This jigsaw uses T-type blades. This jigsaw uses U-type blades. Normally that means I'd have to have a separate box of blades for each saw, but Ryobi just started making universal blades. They work in both.
One
blade
to rule them all.
And these blades are magnetic, so to hold them, all I have to do is put a magnet on this mount. The magnet I used for this was a leftover neodymium magnet of unusual power, but you don't have to have something this strong. Any magnet will do, and it will hold the blades right where you want them. This 45-year-old saw has a cord, which is how we did it back in the day, but I have to store it. But that is easy to do. A simple piece of tin held in by screws is what we need here. Now I can store the cord right here when the saw is on the wall. And it drops away when I pull the saw out.
Later that same evening,
these mounts are done, my jigsaws have a home, and I am now 2 French cleat holders closer to finishing my build out of my shop, which I think we can all agree is never going to happen because I'll keep buying tools and switching things out and making changes, which you can do when you have French cleats. But these were cheap, scrap wood, and waterproof glue.
Because swamp.
And now I can get to my jigsaws whenever I need them, no questions asked. As always, thanks to our wonderful patrons. We really appreciate the help you give us. We build stuff all the time. Sometimes we actually build stuff with these tools. Anyway, if you want to see more, subscribe and ring that bell and you'll never miss a build. See you next time.